Hello. Fancy seeing you here and welcome. So, I have a question for you. Are you content with everything in your life? Dictionary.com says content means satisfied with what one is or has, not wanting more or anything else. Is that you? Or could there be something in your life that you wish were different or better? Maybe you've tried affirmations, self help books, talk therapy, even life coaching, but that issue is still there, rearing its ugly head, and you've just had enough, but you're not sure how to change it permanently. I wonder how many of us say and think things like, I'll be happy when, or I'll do that thing I want to do when I have more money. I'll be happy when I find love. I'll do that thing when my kids are out of the house. Um, I'll be happy when I'm healthy again. I'll do that thing when I lose weight. I mean, you can insert the impetus for your happiness here, but you want to know a not so secret secret? There is no when, my friends. There just isn't. All we have is right now, which is a beautiful thing, actually, because we are creating our life at every moment. I mean, your past brought you to where you are now. That is true, but it does not define you. It's gone. And you are who you think you are right now. Your past is like water down the drain. You couldn't collect your past if you wanted to. Even if you do vividly remember it coming out of the faucet, it's gone. And you can't create a better future by trying to edit your past anyway. No, you can't. But instead of defining yourself from things that happened to you in your past, what if you define yourself by a vision of your future? The future you that has, does, and is all the things that you want right now. And some things you probably haven't even imagined yet, honestly. But think about it. Think about what you want for a moment. Anything. Try not to focus on bringing loved ones back from beyond, though, because that is really beyond our control. And that was their journey. I want you to think about what you want for your life. Anything without thinking of any reasons why you can't have it. Think big. I mean, like grandiose, even. Just imagine that you have what you want, it is already yours. Once you identify it and declare it and really conjure up those emotions of what it feels like, do that right now. Think about what you want. Conjure up the emotions if it's already happened for you. It feels so good, doesn't it? I mean, how good does it feel? Damn good, right? Like amazing. So, did you know that you have a better chance of actually manifesting what you want by spending time in that feeling? I mean, could it be that simple? Well, yeah, it could, among other factors. But everything you want really is trying to show itself to you and be a part of your life right now. But you unwittingly are blocking it from being able to. You know how you like when you crimp a hose and then it blocks the flow? Your hose is just crimped, man, because of beliefs and definitions that you have accepted as truth. If you don't have what you want, that crimp in that hose is keeping what you desire most out of your perception. It seems like it's just not possible to create your own life, that life just happens to you. It's like a series of circumstances that we're reacting to. But does life just happen to you? Could life be happening for us? Even when things occur that we don't like or we don't understand, there is always a way in which it serves us, even if it's just a lesson in it. And everything serves us in certain ways while limiting us in others. Everything. So even though I've been studying the mind and the universe since I was a very young teenager, I am now a master manifester. And I've learned to accept the challenges in life as gifts, because the thing that you think is not working out for you is all a part of everything working out for you. And for most of my life, I didn't fully understand how our mind actually worked. I discovered through time and experiences, sometimes awful, sometimes amazing, and wonderful teachers and mentors along the way, then we have to change our minds and the way we think about and perceive everything in our lives to find joy and fulfillment. Our thoughts are what create our life, and they are the only things over which we have any control. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, said it best: the happiness of our lives depends on the quality of our thoughts. But how? How do we change our thought patterns, Marcus? Right? So, according to one of my mentors, Marissa Peer, there are 4 things you need to know about your mind that if you put into practice, you will have success at every level across the board. Number 1 is your mind does exactly what it thinks that you want it to do. It does what it thinks is in your very best interest based on the information that you give it. And if you don't have what you want, but you have behaviors that you don't want, you aren't yet collaborating properly with your mind. We'll revisit this one. And then number 2 is your mind is hardwired to move you towards pleasure and away from pain. That's how we survive on this planet. That's how we've always survived on this planet since ancient times in the caveman days. Your ego keeps you playing small because it wants to keep you safe and alive. Number 3 is the way you feel about anything and everything all the time comes down to 2 things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say to yourself. And then number 4 is your mind loves what is familiar. It is programmed to keep going to what is familiar over and over again. And to stay away from what is unfamiliar, we become comfortable with our discomforts in life because it's what we know. And the unknown is what scares us. We are programmed to be scared of the unknown. But almost everything is quote unquote unknown. In fact, experts believe that with our human 5 senses alone, we are very limited at what we can actually perceive. They say we perceive less than 1% of actual reality. Isn't that wild? So if you want to succeed, you must make what is familiar unfamiliar and what is unfamiliar familiar. It is simple. Don't complicate it. It all comes down to how you talk to you. Like I mentioned, the brain does what it thinks you want it to do, and it does what you tell it to do. It learns by repetition. It takes practice to get better at anything, whether you're learning to play a sport, learning to play a musical instrument, learning the latest dance moves, learning a language, driving a car, physical therapy, rehab, and yes, your thoughts. I mean, literally anything. Anything at which you want to get better at takes practice. And do you know how many sports figures, and I mean like famous athletes, actors, directors, CEOs, royalty, military, really everyday people like you and me have tried to change their thought patterns on their own and then ended up seeking out and benefiting from hypnosis to improve performance, to stop bad habits. I mean, really almost anything. But why did they do that? And how does hypnosis work? So hypnosis is nothing more than deep relaxation. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's not like those stage hypnotists where they're like, and you're like out. We go in natural states, in and out rather, at natural states of hypnosis all day long. Like when you first wake up in the morning, before you fall asleep at night. If you're deeply engrossed in a movie and the phone rings and you're like, driving along a familiar route, like going to work and coming home, and then realizing I don't even remember the drive home because you were so deep in thought. Even when you're daydreaming, I mean, there's so many times, but when you're in those states, you can actually bypass the conscious chattering mind and access your subconscious mind, which is normally under your awareness. I mean, you're awake, you're talking, you're just super chill. And like meditation, you're just going beyond what is known into the realm of the unknown. Surrender, relax, and release. And when your body is addicted to a drug, let's just say, or wants to eat sweets all the time, or whatever it is that you don't want to do anymore, your body has become the mind. By enhancing your thoughts, your feelings, your gratitude, meditating, whatever, but by doing these things, even hypnosis, you are taking back the mind to being the mind and not your body being your mind. Remember that we are spiritual beings, but we are also animals. And you must train your body. You literally have to train the animal through repetition. So, how do you train a dog or a horse? Through repetition. You don't give up. And you don't beat yourself up either. You have grace for yourself because you are your own best friend. Anytime you wobble, just gently bring yourself back to the present moment, to gratitude, to kindness, and love, especially for yourself. But first things first, no matter what you have going on in your life, you must first identify what you do want, not what you don't want or what you want to stop doing, or what you want someone else to stop doing, what you want. Like if you had a magic wand, what is the number one thing that you want for your life? For your life. Think about what you want for your life. Do you even know? I bet you do, or at least you have an idea. 100%, and I mean every single one of my hypnotherapy clients, when asked what they want, they all tell me what they don't want. I don't want to feel XYZ anymore. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to feel hurt by my broken relationship. I don't want to procrastinate. I don't want to be disrespected. I mean, I don't want to feel blah, blah, blah. You fill in the blank there anymore. I mean, the list is endless. But, maybe you can try to change your perspective around. Instead of saying, I don't want to smoke anymore, okay, so you want to breathe fresh air. You want to smell and taste good. You want clear, healthy lungs. You want to climb stairs without being winded. I mean, there's so many things that you really do want, but your mind doesn't recognize negatives. It says yes to everything that you present to it. So if you say, I'm so stupid, your mind goes, yeah, and it will show you evidence to support that you're stupid. If you say, I want a cigarette, yep. If I'm afraid, yes. And I'm going to show you reasons why you should be afraid. I'm going to win this race, yes. And your mind will show you reasons why it's possible. So hypnotherapy kind of, my mentor, my hypnotherapy mentor uses this example regarding how your mind works, and I absolutely love it. When you put lotion on your skin doesn't ask you if it's Chanel or if it's a freebie you got at the hotel. It just lets it in. And your mind is the same exact way. It lets it all in. It doesn't care if it's good or bad for you, if it's true or false, if it's illegal or legal. Your mind will do what you tell it to do, and it will believe what you tell it to believe. But with practice, your brain learns by repetition. So present to it the good stuff, the stuff that you want, over and over and over again. And remember, to be your best self, you must understand that you are enough as you are. You are worthy of all you desire, no matter what you may have said or done, what anyone else may have said or done to you or around you, doesn't matter. You're worthy of having your desires met because you are uniquely you, and you are worthy simply because you exist. That is the number one thing to be grateful for. I wish I had realized this much earlier in my life. I wish I had understood that I had the power within me sooner, because inside I was far different emotionally than anyone suspected. I was always happy and funny and outgoing and whatever on the outside. But on the inside, I was lonely. I felt rejected. I felt ashamed. I felt unwanted. I felt insignificant. I second guessed my own decisions. And many times I chose the wrong ones because of it. I just didn't think I was good enough to be successful or have a lot of money. I reminded myself constantly what was wrong with me, where my shortcomings were, and what was wrong with my life. See, I grew up poor, and money or abundance or even getting proper emotional attention just wasn't something I knew how to receive. You see, my dad was sick from the time I was very young. He was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1980 when he was 50. I was only 10 years old. They had no treatments then. They didn't even really know what to do for him. And his symptoms progressed rapidly. He went from walking slowly to a cane, to a walker, to a wheelchair until he was bedridden. And then at only 60 years old, He had to go into a nursing home because my mother couldn't take care of him anymore. And this was all during my formative years. And I was just trying to figure out who I was while I was dealing with all this bullshit at home. My dad died when I was 22. And for reasons I don't understand, I didn't go see him at the end. The last time I saw him was Christmas Eve of 1992. I had just finished college, and I was talking to him about coming to my ceremony in May. I knew he couldn't, but I tried to be cheerful about the fact that maybe he could. You know, it was the first time that I felt like we got along. Like now that I was an adult, we laughed a lot. I told him I'd be back the next day, which was Christmas Day. I told him I loved him, and I left. And I didn't go back the next day. I didn't go back at all. In fact, a couple weeks went by, and my mom told me, you know, your dad's really sick and you should go see him. I didn't. And he died January 23rd, 1993. I never saw him again. And then 2 short years later, almost to the day, my mother died from breast cancer. I became an orphan at 24 years old. And in between those 2 tragedies, if that wasn't enough, in fact, about 9 months later after my dad died, I got the first symptom of what I was later to discover was also multiple sclerosis, the same disease that killed him. I was in complete denial of what was happening to my life. I believed I would always be fine. I would never have to deal with what he dealt with. I continued to party and live my life, and I was fine. For 18 freaking years, I was fine. I wore 3-inch big old heels every single day that I swore I could do karate in. And except for a few bouts of optic neuritis, which is just an inflammation of the optic nerve, which healed each time within weeks, I was totally fine. The neurologist kept telling me that I should go on the new treatments that became available, and I ignored them. I just didn't believe it would ever happen to me. I was in complete denial. So I went on to get married, and I have 2 children, and I just never thought that I wouldn't be able to walk or lose balance among other yucky symptoms. I mean, I used to work out with a personal trainer 3 days a week for years. I was in great shape. I was active. I did all kinds of fun things. But it did happen. And I was fine until I wasn't. And then about 25 or so years from that first symptom, it began to get so bad that trying to walk became an exhausting struggle. My balance was awful. I could no longer walk unassisted. I cried all the time. My mental state was unbearable. I beat myself up mentally. I continually told myself what the doctor said. There's no cure. You're only going to get worse. And just everything that was just plaguing my mind. I was suffering. And I was dealing with all the self-doubt about everything in my life that you could imagine. I mean, what a shitty story I was telling myself. I was exhausted. I was exasperated. And I blamed myself. If only I had listened to the doctors. If only I had gone to see my dad. I felt like I was being punished, like I deserved it. What an awful freaking mental state to be in. But I no longer wanted to live like that. I came to realize that no one else was punishing me. I was punishing myself. And I sought out all types of things external to me to fix me. I went to all the doctors you can imagine. I went to the Mayo Clinic. I did physical therapy. I saw psychologists, chiropractors, energy clearing, acupuncture, Reiki. I changed my diet. I spent a lot of money and time and energy. And I experienced a lot of freaking heartache too. You name it, I tried it all. But those were all outside influences. Maybe you've tried to heal something within your life by finding others to help you too. Certainly, some illnesses or injuries require medication. I mean, something acute like a urinary tract infection or something you need antibiotics. And certainly car accident surgeries, of course. But most chronic illnesses, even though they give you drugs to kind of help with symptoms, they don't heal you. They don't cure anything. And they have a lot of yucky side effects. We have to change the way we think to get better. Removing those counterproductive limiting beliefs and understanding our worth. You see, I realized that no matter what my circumstances were, no one was coming to save me. No one could save me from myself. No one and nothing could make me happy but me. I had gotten to the point where I didn't even want to live anymore. I felt like I was simply existing. And that was a pivotal moment in my life because I realized I had a choice to make. I could continue living in misery until I took my own life, or I could love my life as it was, regardless of my circumstances. To still go after my dreams, albeit differently, but to feel whole and complete as I am. And that is the choice I made. But how did I do it? I had to surrender. I had to believe that I was already healed. I had to envision myself climbing stairs and riding my bike and dancing and doing all the things I wanted to do over and over again. And whatever it is I was dealing with in my body, it was there to teach me something. I began to believe in my heart that it was already resolved. And even though I knew it may be super hard to do, I had to surrender. It was hard as hell, but it was so worth it. And that's when the answers come. I'm not saying give up. I'm saying to be at peace with what is and allow the resolution to come to you. And it will come to you when you're not attached to the outcome. You know, the universe is made up of frequency. Everything in the universe is made up of frequency. And even you and me, every thought we think creates a frequency. And every thought we think incites our brain to produce a chemical to correlate with it. And those chemicals that are coursing through our bodies at any given time is what we call our emotions or our feelings. But your brain is the most advanced pharmacy in the world. Joyful or optimistic thoughts will incite your brain to produce things like dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, all natural. And when you think about things that make you sad or angry or afraid, then your brain produces stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And once you think a certain way often enough, your body gets used to that constant flow of that chemical and it craves it. And then you unconsciously seek out other experiences to elicit that same chemical response for the rest of your life. That's why you feel like you keep finding yourself in similar situations or meeting people that make you feel like poop. If you were to think more optimistic thoughts, you will discover more optimistic, positive things entering your life. The reason we have such a tough time letting go of certain things is unconsciously, we live by a set of memorized behaviors, thoughts, and emotional reactions, all running like a computer program behind the scenes of our conscious awareness, placed there by beliefs and definitions that we formed about ourselves when we were very young. Our biggest problems as an adult are the solutions we came up with in childhood to move us away from pain or punishment or rejection. For instance, let's say when you were little, you had a friend who was only nice to you when you could give them something like candy or gum or something like that. And they acted like they liked you. And it made you happy when they acted like they like you. So then you wondered what else you could do for them. You then formed a belief that you were only worthy of someone else's time and energy and of liking you when you were of a benefit to them. So, as an adult, you're now a people pleaser. Oftentimes, putting other people's needs before your own. And you're not sure how to break that cycle. Or let's say you got yelled at a lot or called names by your parents. You may have formed a belief that something was wrong with you and that you aren't enough the way that you are. So you made sure to stay out of their way, try not to do things that, to be yelled at anymore. And now, as an adult, you feel like you never look good enough. You never work hard enough. You're afraid to speak up even when you feel wronged. You may even stay in relationships with people who take advantage of you or treat you with disrespect because after all, you don't think you're worthy of better. I could give you tons of examples of childhood solutions that have ended up being your biggest issue in your adult life, from phobias to money blocks to self-esteem and confidence issues to relationship problems, bad habits, you name it, even health issues. Every thought that you put out there comes back to you. That's frequency. It's constantly, the universe is constantly matching your frequency. It's kind of like how Netflix works, your brain. Let's say that you have been watching dark crime shows for years. The choices that you have made repetitively have taught Netflix what you like, and it has saved these as your preferences. And then it sends you recommendations in line with, who it believes you are based on what you've taught it through repetition. More dark crime series pop up as suggestions because that's what you keep watching. Your conscious mind is your mind of choice, and your subconscious mind is your mind of preference, right? So if you keep choosing the same movies and shows, AKA still telling yourself the same old story and having the same old negative thoughts, then you're solidifying the old beliefs and definitions instead of updating your preferences to something better. So if you want Netflix to stop suggesting dark crime shows, then you would have to stop choosing dark crime themed shows and start choosing something else, like romantic comedies or My Little Pony or, I don't know, Family Guy, whatever. Because then Netflix would soon update what it has saved as your preferences and then begin feeding it back to you. Like, this is what you now say you like. And Netflix is like, oh, okay, she wants this now. All right, here you go. So you see, you have to change the saved preferences, and it's dependent entirely on the choices that you make consciously and consistently every single day. The conscious mind, the thoughts that you think, you send them to your subconscious, and then your subconscious feeds your preferences back to you based on the choices that you make. The key thing to understand is that your mind works for you. It is listening to what you tell it. This is why it is so crucial to question your beliefs, saved preferences, and the thoughts you think, which have created those preferences. You need to let your mind know with your own authority that these changes are what you now insist upon. And your intention and strong emotion to support that intention are what hold the power. So most of your beliefs were formed when you were only little. And this is because some of your early life experiences with adults who had their own triggers and their own baggage, which you couldn't make any sense of in any other way than to start thinking that you were the problem. But, this is what all children do. When a parent's reaction doesn't make sense to them, the parent has to remain perfect in the child's mind because it is too scary to think of the parent or the caregiver that they may not know everything and they may not have it all together. So then, of course, the child makes it their fault. The trouble with beliefs is, once formed, they go on to become self-fulfilling prophecies, which make it even harder to stop believing them. The power of rapid transformational therapy, say that 10 times fast, and this is what I offer, is seeing that the original imprint was laid down in error and choosing to tell your mind something better. You take that power, you use that power. This is how you wake up and become all you can be. I know it seems so hard to change your thoughts when you've been on this loop in your mind for years and years, and it just seems like I don't know how to stop thinking these things. And if I try to think about something else, it keeps coming back. Well, you no longer have to stay stuck on that track, my friend. You have been looking for a way to break free of those old thought patterns and move into the new, improved version of you so that you can have what you want and get to where you want to go, don't you? I mean, the mind's inability to distinguish between real and imagined experiences is a powerful concept in neuroscience. When we vividly imagine something, especially with strong emotions, the brain activates the same neural pathways that it does when we actually experience it. And this happens because the brain processes thoughts, emotions, and sensory input through the same regions. So regardless of whether the stimuli are real or imagined, you're getting the same feelings. For example, if you keep thinking about a past memory or you vividly imagine a future event, your brain releases the same chemicals like we talked about, adrenaline or dopamine or stress hormones like cortisol or, oxytocin, whatever. But it's releasing these chemicals as it would if that event were actually happening in the present. And this is why imagining something stressful can trigger a real stress response in your body. And imagining uplifting experiences can create real feelings of joy or motivation. This is the foundation of techniques like visualization and, imagery, guided imagery, hypnotherapy. By consciously directing our thoughts toward empowering positive scenarios, we can actually influence our brain to create more of those positive emotions and responses. The key, again, is repetition. Repetition builds retention. So think about how you want to be, or what you want to do, or what you want to have over and over again. Don't forget to add in those strong feelings. Act as if it's already happened to you. Even if you get bored, even if you get annoyed, even if your ego tries to tell you all the reasons it could never work, that is when you must keep going. Because over time, this will reshape your emotional patterns, boost your confidence, dissolve your mental blocks, leading to real changes in your thought patterns and your perceptions. If you find that you've tried methods that weren't effective, here's why. What you want isn't on its way to you. It's not coming to you from somewhere else. It's right here, right now. You are just on a different frequency. And to get on the same frequency, you must change your station. Tell yourself a new story. Take the radio, for instance. I mean, there are thousands of songs all playing at the same time, but you can't hear them all at once, obviously. You have to change the station, which is literally changing the frequency. So if you want to hear the different song, you're changing it. If you want to change your thoughts, you have to change your frequency to that which you desire. And again, that is by setting that intention and feeling the strong emotions and doing that over and over. I mean, I could really go deep into this, but for the sake of time, I'll just go into a concept that I like to call diamonds and coal. When you're trying to change your thoughts, saying affirmations is helpful. Reading self-help books, following the gurus, even talk therapy, they are all super helpful to a degree. They will never actually get you the results that you're seeking because those modalities are like trying to add diamonds to a bucket that's already full to the brim of coal. So envision that your brain is a bucket and the diamonds are your joyful, optimistic thoughts. And the coal is your negative, pesky, looping thoughts that keep rearing their ugly heads. Let's say you are consistently saying affirmations and you're adding diamonds into your bucket. But if you haven't removed the old beliefs and definitions first, that bucket still holds all that coal. And there's no room for the diamonds to stay. I mean, maybe one or two of them will fit in there, but the rest are going to just topple out. It would make sense then that you need to remove that coal first to make room in that bucket for the diamonds to stay. So we dump out that bucket of coal first so that there's plenty of room for the diamonds to stay put, right? This is what hypnotherapy, can't talk today. This is what hypnotherapy does for you. It helps you to understand where your issue began and eliminate it at its core, making room for the new way that you want to think and feel. So, girl, if you want to move beyond empty repetition of affirmations that aren't moving you forward enough, I have a powerhouse program I want to tell you about, especially if you know that deep down there is something holding you back from stepping into your next level of confidence, self-belief, inner peace, something that you want. And I call the program Unstuck to Unstoppable. It's my signature 12-week one-on-one program to identify the key obstacle that's keeping you stuck and to coach you through the actionable steps to make you unstoppable in pursuit of your next big achievement, your next big goal. So over 12 weeks, we're going to work together. We're going to work through 3 powerful phases. Phase 1, I call root out and rewire. In this phase, we map out your transformation. We then dive deep to identify and root out the key obstacle that's keeping you stuck. And as I mentioned, we're going to eradicate it at the root of it. We then rewire your subconscious for incredible confidence to move forward with all your bold new goals. Phase 2 is reinforce. You will reinforce your new supportive beliefs so that they become a permanent part of your subconscious mind that will help you drive your decisions. I will create a customized 20-minute recording that you'll listen to for 21 days straight to lock in those new beliefs and unlock your full potential. And then phase 3, I call rev up your life. Once we've identified the key obstacle holding you back and we've installed the new empowering beliefs, the real journey begins. In 3 powerful 45-minute coaching sessions, we're going to talk about any wobbles you're experiencing. We're going to talk about your key goals that you've been wanting to achieve. And I will be supporting you once a month with wise guidance and actionable steps as you take bold strides towards your next exciting level. You're here now. You want to be here. We're going to get you there. In addition to hypnotherapy and the coaching elements, you will also get direct access to me in the DMs, whether that's Telegram or Facebook DM, totally up to you. You will also get access to my course, which is Infinite Possibilities Playbook. It is self-paced, bite-sized pre-recorded lessons that include mental exercises, hypnotic recordings, reflective journaling pages to help reinforce our work together. This 3-month powerhouse program is priced in the very low 4-figure range, which really is a small price to pay for the kinds of breakthroughs that you're going to have. And these breakthroughs are going to help you get to that next level in your business, your relationships, and your personal development. So if you're finally ready to just permanently remove all those old counterproductive subconscious beliefs that are holding you back from what you really want, just DM me the word unstoppable. That's it. And when you do, I'll ask you a few questions to see if we're a good fit, how I can best serve you. Listen, I'm an ethical hypnotherapist and coach. I'm an ethical person in general. If I can't help you, I will not take your money. That is for sure. But if it looks like I can be of service to you, we'll get started right away. Listen, I see you. I see what you're going through. I am you. We are all connected, my friend. And I've been able to change my life by changing my mind. Your emotional well-being is directly related to your commitment to it. And there is no greater love than the love and kindness you have for yourself. So what is your story? Like, what do you really want? Be detailed. Like, who are you? See the colors of you in the future. Smell the smells. Be there. Like, what are you wearing? How do you spend your time? Who are you spending your time with? What are you driving? Where do you vacation? Where do you live? This is your life you are creating. So I don't want you to put any focus on reasons that you can't have what you want. How do you want it to be? Always be open for it to happen in an unexpected way at an unexpected time, because that's how the universe works. Doesn't work on Ellen time, doesn't work on your time. It works on divine timing, because if you could control it, then you'd be in control. But the only thing over which you have any control is your thoughts. So let's help you master yours. We'll help you think better, feel better, and live better. You will become your own success story. I'll see you on the inside. Thank you.